The final season of a show. This can be one of, if not the most important seasons for a long-running show. Obviously, the first season is always going to be the most important because that season will lay all the groundwork, the foundation for what that series is going to be. However, what is almost as important as that foundation is how you finish it. What the audience thinks when they last think of said title. So, if you look at a show like The Flash or Arrow, you can see they may have fumbled in the end, and that definitely does affect what people think about the series as a whole. So you can have an amazing series, go on multiple season runs, and if you don't stick the landing in a proper way, it can highly devalue how people see that show. And that can be really unfortunate because if you do have 4 to 5 seasons of a great show and then you just have a final season that is lackluster or doesn't meet the expectations that have been set by the other seasons, then a lot of people are going to be up in arms about it. And honestly, I definitely can agree with that sentiment. The last season of an amazing show should be just that. Amazing. And luckily for us, The Boys decided to treat us with a little bit of a teaser, and that's why today we're talking The Boys Season 5, trailer breakdown, predictions, and more. But before we get into anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Alright, The Boys Season 5 obviously gave us some pretty epic moments, and now this is just a teaser, so we will be getting more of a full trailer as the date approaches, and that date is April 8th. Now, I don't know if the rest of you have been catching up, but that means we're going to be getting Daredevil Born Again, Invincible, and The Boys, all within the same time frame, as they do all air in that March to April time slot, so we are going to be eating good as comic book fans. So I am really excited just right off the bat. However, this trailer showed us a lot of things, even though it was only about a minute and 50 seconds. We still got a good amount of information from it, and you can definitely bet that I dissected every single second that we got. And I definitely have some theories about who's going to die, story details, and all of that. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. So, first and foremost, the clips that I really liked from the trailer. Starlight going all out with her powers. She looks like she's going absolutely insane on someone. I'm really excited to see what pushes her into that moment. But not only that, I'm excited to see, hopefully, her maintaining that level of power. I know we saw a little bit of that in Season 3 and then a little bit in Season 4. She does need to charge her powers. However, I'm hoping that they somehow overcome that. Maybe she recharges her powers off of something really powerful, so then she is able to sustain that for longer at the very least. I think that would be really cool and make her a really big threat. I do think she is going to end up killing Firecracker. I think they've set up that rivalry between the two of them pretty well, and I think it would fit for her to finally defeat Firecracker. Now, is she going to end up killing her? I don't know, but a little bit more on that later because I do think Annie will certainly be killing someone this season. Again, I'll get into that a little bit later. Some of the other things from the trailer that really stuck out to me, Jared Padalecki is going to be in this season. Now, if those of you don't know who he was a co-star of Jensen Ackles in Supernatural. Now again, that was a show that ran for about 14 or 15 seasons. I did not watch the entire show. I have seen parts of it. I think it's a really good show. It's enjoyable. Jared Padalecki is a very good actor. Him working opposite of Jensen Ackles is going to be something that is really, really cool to see. He is a physically imposing threat, not to mention the great hair. And it's rumored that his character is going to have some type of relationship with Soldier Boy. Now, is that going to be a type of past with Soldier Boy? Or maybe he is just a fanatic, a super fan for Soldier Boy? In my opinion, this is where the predictions are going to start coming. I think that Jared Padalecki's character is tied to Soldier Boy's past, and one of the reasons I truly believe this is we do know we are getting a prequel series about Soldier Boy, so if they did have Jared Padalecki's character have some type of history with Soldier Boy, whether that is a good history, a bad history, or a rivalry, then that would allow Jared Padalecki to appear in that series as well, which totally makes sense given their close friendship in real life and how well they worked together for 14 or 15 years on non-supernatural. So that to me just makes the most sense. Some of the other things about the trailer were really interesting to me. Ryan looks like he is going absolutely crazy. He has some blood on him. He looks like he just killed someone. However, I personally think this is a slight misdirection. I think maybe Ryan will go down a path of snapping a little bit more this season. However, I don't think he is going to go scorched earth and be totally on Homelander's side. I actually think he is going to end up turning on Homelander. And maybe in this moment, it is him turning on Homelander and him looking at Homelander with cold eyes. And the thing that I think could drive him to do this would be Homelander doing something really bad to Billy, because we do know Ryan at this point does still have at least some sort of a soft spot for Billy. And it would also make sense if maybe Ryan finds out a little bit more about the past between his mom and Homelander and what happened between them. Obviously, if Ryan finds that out, finds anything out about what actually happened between the two of them, how it happened, that could justify him absolutely snapping on Homelander. And that brings me to Homelander crashing out in this trailer. He actually had a couple moments where he was crashing out and going absolutely nuts. And a lot of people are saying that because he is hesitating in some of these moments and looks almost sad to be doing this, that he is punching Ryan. They also can zoom in on his chest and see a little hole, which would indicate that he was burned somehow. Again, Ryan's heat vision or laser vision in this universe would definitely explain that. However, I don't think they're going to go that route, especially not in that way. I personally think there are a couple other characters that this could be. To me, I think Soldier Boy, Jared Padalecki's character, Black Noir, or Queen Maeve all make more sense. Again, yes, a lot of those don't explain why that burn hole is there. However, considering he's going to be fighting a lot of different characters, it could have just happened earlier in the scene. Maybe that hole appeared there when he was fighting someone with some type of laser vision or the ability to shoot some type of beams at him. That would explain that, and it would leave room for him to be able to do that to another character. Now, again, why would he be sad when he's doing this to other characters? Well, if we look at Queen Maeve, he and Maeve did have some type of relationship. And although they did fight in season 3, he didn't want to. He multiple times tried to stop that fight and tried to get her to back down. And he only started to get serious when she literally made him start bleeding. And even then, he wasn't going all out because, in my opinion, he still has some type of feelings towards her. Whether that's romantic feelings or just a feeling of kinship between the two of them, I feel like that alone would leave him to hesitate at least a little bit. We literally already saw that in season 3. So that would make sense. The other one is really, really interesting, and that's Black Noir. Now, why would Black Noir, someone that he's shown no affection for, especially since it's this replacement Black Noir? Well, to me, if they follow the comics, spoiler alert if you have not read the comics, I try not to talk about the comics on this channel too much. However, seeing as how The Boys in particular doesn't follow the comics, similarly to how Invincible will actually follow the comics, I feel like speaking on what happened in the comics in The Boys universe is a little bit better because there's way more nuance to this series. Whereas I feel like Invincible does follow that, at least as a blueprint. Whereas a lot of The Boys doesn't follow that same path. So I feel like if they go down a route that they went down in The Boys comics and have Black Noir actually be a clone of Homelander, this would lead him to have that slight reservation about almost killing himself. However, I do feel like he would, instead of being remorseful in this moment, be more so pissed off. So that one might not make the most sense, but to me, the one that makes the most sense is it being Soldier Boy, because again, we do know he does always want that father figure. And although he doesn't have any type of relationship with Soldier Boy, we saw in season 3 that he did want to build that relationship with Soldier Boy. And over the course of this season, I feel like they are going to get closer and closer. And they are going to build a bond of at least mutual trust and some respect. It might be more respect from Homelander to Soldier Boy. However, then I could see it making sense for Homelander to hesitate when he is about to deal the final blow to Soldier Boy. The other main part of this trailer that I definitely want to talk about is that scene in which we see Homelander going absolutely crazy. No, not punching, but the crazy laser vision up in the sky where it's bigger than it has ever been. And people actually online did zoom into this his image, enhanced it, and you can see a little vial there that does have a needle, so it does look like that he may have injected himself with Compound V or Temp V to maybe enhance his powers. This would show us that he was probably on the brink of death and about to lose to someone, and this was just absolute desperation. Now, I have a couple theories as to how this can happen and what could lead him to this. To me, the easiest answer for this would be Ryan dying or Ryan betraying him. If Ryan were to die in front of him, whether it's by his hand alone or if it's at the hands of someone else and he just simply could not save Ryan, this would totally not justify, but it would totally make sense and justify in his mind going absolutely crazy and, in Butcher's words, going scorched earth. And how would he do that? Gaining more power. So that to me is probably the most likely scenario, or the most reasonable scenario for him to do this in this moment. The other one would be if Butcher, Soldier Boy, and Ryan actually all team up to take Homelander down. Now, this would take Ryan and Soldier Boy betraying Homelander, which isn't out of the norm. I mean, Soldier Boy kind of turned on Homelander when he found out he was his son and had a grandson, and Homelander thought they were just gonna all be happy family together. No, Soldier Boy did not care and just wanted to kill him. So this would make sense if Soldier Boy did turn on him in this season, and they somehow got Ryan to also turn on him. And I feel like this, mixed with Homelander losing or almost losing, would drive him to the point where he is going to inject himself. Now, last but certainly not least is another scenario in which he isn't using Compound V, he isn't using Temp V, and it actually wasn't something that was his choice. Maybe they found something that could pierce his body. Maybe they found something similar to how he can't see through zinc. Maybe they found something that can actually pierce through his body. And maybe, just maybe, they injected him with some sort of cure that is going to inevitably leave him cured and depowered. That would explain that giant beam. Maybe some of the remnants of his powers are being pushed out. Maybe he is in a last-ditch effort trying to destroy as much as he can before he does run out of powers. And honestly, I don't know if a lot of people would hate it or love it to have Homelander depowered at the finale of this season. However, I feel like that would really fit. Would I personally love it? No. I think having him killed off in some way would be way cooler, but it actually would make sense for the story. He is someone who is so obsessed with power, so obsessed with his self-image. So to have that taken away from him would be a fate that is more cruel to him than death. We saw how freaked out he was when they learned that Soldier Boy can fry the V right out of them. He wasn't concerned that he just got his ass kicked. He was more concerned that he could maybe be a normal person. And that goes into the psychology of Homelander. The only value that he's ever placed on himself is that of being a soup, that of being a hero. So if you take that away, it is almost a fate that is more cruel than death. For that character, at least. I do think the most likely scenario is him being depowered. I think that would be such a full circle moment, and it would make him have to learn a lot of humility, and it would make him have to do a lot of things from within. Because again, his entire self-image is being a soup. But let me know what all of you think about the trailer. Who do you think is most likely to die in season 5 of The Boys? Let me know in the comments below. And while you guys are down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.